All right, so this is the escape room challenge. It's the anti-cloning task force. So each team, which is the six members that have been working together all year, they have to first find their team color, which they did, and then you see the riddle there. If you answer, for instance, team green, the first station they'll have is, the riddle is quack. So then we go over here, and they have to find the item that has a little QR code connected to it. So that QR code and the other items that are related to the riddle. So if Team Red, galloping and eating hay, they would find the horse and get that QR to go to their first task. So the QRs bring up Google Documents, basically breaking down part of the story, part of the mad scientists are trying to find. So this anti-cloning is basically some mad scientist is trying to clone the first human, and you have to find the six places locations where they stop. You have to find the departure time, the direction of the flight between locations, and an item they pick up. So here are the 6 items that they have to figure out. And the goal is to first figure out, for the end goal is to figure out all the countries, destinations, and then, for instance, if they went from Greece down to Chad for the first flight, that would be south. The direction would be south for the first flight. So from there, at the very end, they have to, I'll show you the mechanism. So for the end product, I have this device here, and basically it is a unit circle / clock, has a number of switches that they'll have to. So if at 1 o'clock they were going east, then they have to move it over to the right. So they do all of that. They get 6 different switches in the right configuration, then push the deactivation switch. And when you do, if it works, then there's a red LED that lights up around the edge. So that's how they win the whole challenge. So each task has them do a math-related problem. Specifically here, we're doing unit circles, so there's a lot of find theta. There's also other props that have information on it, like this. So it's a unit circle with also time and items that were picked up at different times. In addition, there's coins, like this is a Jamaican coin, and so on. These help us figure out, that's a Bolivian coin, help us figure out where they went at what time. So basically, different clues are given at different times with different tasks. And there's even a metal detector that they have to find a buried bolt outside that is wrapped with 3 problems they have to do. And those problems lead to another part of that task. There's a tool which they have to buy tools, use of tools for 1 coin. They have to buy objects off the table for 1 coin, or they buy a hint for 1 coin. And this is the mystery tool. So we come around back, and it's a miniature microscope here that they can use to read a very tiny letter. That's part of this activity back here. This is the laser obstacle course. So I have these red strings connected to this slinky that when the string is pulled, it makes a circuit and lights up the light. So they make their way through the obstacle laser course. They can opt out for a coin if they need it. And then they get over here, and there's these miniature, tiny little letters. So they pick their team color letter. And the clue, because it's so tiny, that's why they need the special microscope to read it. So they can buy use of that microscope and have to put that together. This is the cave. So one of the clues is to go and look at the briefcase up there after they find a code from a problem. So they open the briefcase with the code, and there's a black light in there. So you can't see it, of course, but here is the cave, and there's a white sheet of paper that has a grid with a bunch of information that they have to decipher. So that's one thing as well. This one is the slow motion detector. So we have some physics gear here. This is a velocity receiver sensor. And we have basically a situation where we push space bar, stop that. Why? We can collect data here. By turning it on, and then if I walk more than 1/2 of a meter per second, so I walk too fast, and when I walk too fast, it makes a beeping sound. So they have to watch out for that. We're also timing this, so these are all of their times that we start the clock at the beginning of the period. Some other aspects include, let's see, I mentioned the metal detector outside. They also have books like this where they have a book that when you open it, it gives you a little calculator inside. And there's 4 letters minus another 4 letters because the calculator has buttons that are letters instead. So they have to look for the different numbers throughout the book and just figure it out that way. The code that they get from that opens up this toolbox, which has a decoder ring in it. So this is, also they had to weigh an item, picking an item from a clue, and that gave them a code to open up another lock. In addition, I have these 2 items. These are 2 of the codes that they receive by getting into one of those boxes. So we have a code and a decoder secret spinning wheel here. So they have to find all that information because when they get to the final finale, first they have the grid to help organize their information, and they also have the anti-cloning task force finale. So all these codes, we have semaphore, we have the one from the coding ring, we got Morse code, this one's Pigpen, and Braille. So they just split that up, they figure it out, and basically it gives them the clue for the final over here. Gives them the clue for getting into this, and again, from the direction of the flight, they can figure out which switches to turn on and off. So the kids are really into it. Between each task, or after they do each task, I have a problem set on one of the QR documents, and the problem set, each person in the group does a different problem, and once they're done with the problem, then they go on to the next task. So they're motivated to do these things quick because we're finding the total time, and for the problems done, they get minus 15 seconds for every problem that's correct. So they're correcting each other's work, they're trying to move quickly through it and correct, and it's just really motivating. So it's 5 more days of school left, and they're working as hard as I've ever seen them. So I'm pretty happy with it. It took longer than I thought. It's taken 2 days, and I'm not sure everyone's gonna get through it, but the kids are really enjoying it. They're excited about it, and I even have some escape room music that I've been playing, so I'll play that out right now. Well, I was trying to. One sec. So this is my escape room music. So they come in, they're pretty excited. One other thing, I'll turn off this sensor real quick. So I have the items buried in the yard out here, and I give a treasure map, which is part of the one of the clues that they get on where to look for it. So they use the metal detector to find it. And then I got my room all decked out like this on the outside. Anti-cloning task force. And they can't escape. It's not like they have to stay in for lunch or anything. It's mostly about the time. And the tricky part about this was running 6 groups at once. So instead of one group going through it, I have 6 groups going at the same time. So I had to make task stations and buffer time so that they don't run into each other. It's going well. All right, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more escape rooms.